Hey, this is Rue, and today I'm reviewing Toy Shire after 100%. Toy Shire is a tower defense game with light RTS elements and a really cool setting. The game puts you in the role of a kid playing with his toys. You use green army men and their buildings to fight off waves of enemy toys and a series of bosses. The game takes place across 4 areas of a house: a bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, and ending in the backyard. Each area is split into 3 sublevels for a total of 12 levels. All of these are really well themed. The play area is defined by whatever is on hand for that room: pencils, Lego blocks, bathroom accessories, fruit, utensils, and so on. Each level is broken into a series of enemy waves. The enemy type varies based on the level and wave number. Most enemies will walk or swim across the map, but there are also flying enemies that require special units to deal with. Your goal is to protect your base, shown as a green army tent. If 3 enemy units reach your base, the level is failed and will automatically restart. You start with a certain number of stars that you can use to build and upgrade buildings on different preset spots. You'll also earn stars as each level progresses. You can only build new structures between rounds, but you're able to upgrade existing structures at any time. The game starts with a couple basic structures, a watchtower and a cannon, but as you advance through the levels you get access to cooler buildings, surface-to-air missiles, miniguns, a laser tower, and so on. The upgrades are expensive, but feel really impactful. A well-placed level 3 tower can carry you through some of the levels. Once the round begins, you'll also be able to use stars to summon different types of green army men. Just like with buildings, this starts basic, regular troopers and snipers, but as you play you can get more powerful troops, bazooka guys, combat divers, eventually even helicopter gunships. You can only purchase and move your units around during active waves. Buying and controlling these units is what gives Toy Shire some light RTS elements. In a neat twist, you can actually end a level early by getting 3 of your troops to the enemy base. You also get to choose a special skill in the later levels. Currently it seems like there's just one available, a big hammer that you can use to knock enemies. At the end of the final wave of each of these 4 areas, you'll have to fight a boss, usually some kind of giant toy with special powers. These are well themed and animated and really give the game a kind of Toy Story feel. The game has 3 difficulty settings: easy, normal, and hard, and takes around 4 to 5 hours to complete. It also features a map editor mode that lets you create your own levels and share them, which is pretty cool. I've completed the game twice. My first playthrough was on normal, I tinkered around a little bit on easy, and then I beat the full game again on hard. I've experimented with a number of different strategies, units, and buildings. That's enough for me to consider this game 100% complete as it currently stands. Note that a number of the achievements are bugged and didn't pop up for me. I have my full normal difficulty playthrough up, which I'll link below. I also plan to do a boss guide on hard difficulty, which I'll also link. Like I usually do with these reviews, let's talk a bit about what I liked, what I didn't like, and then end with a discussion of value and my overall thoughts. The first thing I liked is the overall setting and atmosphere. The developers have nailed the look and feel of a kid playing with his toys. Each level is chock full of little details: a cat eating in the background, the various toys laid out around the map, and so on. The bosses are well designed with special powers and feel like they belong in the game world. Each boss has a short little introduction and exit cinematic after you defeat them. The art style and UI have a cute, childish, animated feel. It's clear Toy Story was a major inspiration for this game. Even the name of the game feels suspiciously close, but in general I don't mind where the ideas come from as long as they're executed well, and they are here. Overall, the gameplay is solid. Being able to buy and control units is a cool twist on the tower defense genre. Most levels let you play and win with a variety of strategies. Do you want to focus on buildings, units, or a mix of both? The late game units feel powerful but not invincible. The attack helicopter in particular is one of my favorites and really carried me through one of the boss fights. I also like the in-game music with one exception. The main menu plays this weird song that sounds like an AI mashup of Hello Mudda and Randy Newman. If you stop and listen to the lyrics, it just feels off.
Once upon a time in Lansickley lived a kid named Kevin. His father bought him new soldier toys. For old toys, there ain't more joys. Oh, Kevin, won't you see their worth? They've been with you since your day of birth. Now they gather dust and mirrors forgotten. In the garage, they sleep in the dark.
The in-game music, on the other hand, sounds great. Let's get into some things I didn't like as much. First, the game save and level selection needs to be reworked. The game is in a kind of weird place where there's one ongoing save state and level selection is tied to that. For example, for my first playthrough, I beat the game on the normal difficulty. After doing that, I had access to all levels. I wanted to play around on the easy difficulty, which required me to start a new game. At that point, I lost access to all the previously unlocked levels. Level unlock and difficulty should be separate. So many games handle it this way. Next up, this game needs some balancing work, particularly around the bosses. I'm by no means an expert at tower defense games, but I found two of the bosses, the first and the third, pretty easy. I beat them both the first time without too much trouble. The other two bosses required a number of restarts to figure out exactly what the game wanted me to do. Some levels, and those two boss fights in particular, require you to play a certain way. If your playstyle doesn't match up, for example, if you like to focus exclusively on either buildings or units, some bosses are going to be very difficult, if not impossible. For example, I don't think it's possible to beat the final boss with just buildings. I tried a number of times with a variety of buildings and strategies, but couldn't make it work. I'm not sure if this was intended to try to force people to adapt and change up their playstyle, but being this unforgiving feels more appropriate to the hard difficulty than normal. Unit and building balance also need some tweaks. Some buildings and units aren't worth getting, particularly once you hit the late game and have access to better stuff. The machine gunner range is too short, and the grenade guy basically gets obsoleted as soon as you have access to the bazooka. The basic guard tower feels non-viable in later levels, and I never had any success with the mortar building. It doesn't lead enemies, so shells consistently fall behind the enemy unless you happen to have CC in that area. The lack of AoE enemies outside of some bosses also rewards some cheesy playstyles. Again, I'm not sure if this is intended or not. For example, building a death blob of snipers and bazooka units outside your base is extremely effective. In the late game, a death blob of helicopters is also more effective than it probably should be. The overall polish is okay for early access, but certainly not amazing. I did run into one game-stopping bug which forced a level restart. Units can get kinda twitchy, particularly when enemies or bosses get very close. Here's an example of my combat divers, a strong melee unit specialized for water, unable to attack an aquatic boss. They're just kind of swimming around him. Some animations look kind of janky if you look closely. Look at the feet and legs of these dinosaurs and cavemen when they walk. This could definitely be cleaned up a little bit. My last criticism is a minor one, and it has to do with the boy Kevin's dialogue. Most of it's fine, if a little repetitive, but every once in a while Kevin will swear, which feels strange in a game like this.
God damn! Oh no! I will beat you next time, loser bugs.
Despite the setting, I think the devs are actually targeting the game at an older audience with fond memories of playing with toys more so than actual kids. Still, I think the devs would be wise to patch the swearing out. I'm not usually a pearl clutcher, but with this setting, young kids are almost certainly going to be playing or watching, and removing it wouldn't affect game quality in the slightest. There is an option to suppress Kevin's voice completely as well. Let's move on to value and overall thoughts. Toy Shire is retailing for $10 US, which I think is a fair price for a game with 4 to 5 hours of quality content. There's also a demo available if you want to try the game before buying. Overall, Toy Shire is a fun game, but a little bit rough around the edges, which isn't surprising for something in early access. I hope the devs keep working on it, as this game has a lot of potential. Not only can the current game be polished and improved, but the nature of the game makes it extremely simple to add additional levels or game modes. There are so many rooms that could be included: dining room, living room, laundry room, attic, basement, and so on. These rooms could feature new unit types, buildings, and enemy types. Hopefully the devs will come out with a roadmap and build on this fun little game into the future. Anyways, that about wraps this one up. If you enjoy this sort of content, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.